Many CELPIP candidates study hard for the speaking test but still struggle to reach CLB 10 or higher. The truth is that high-scoring candidates use a completely different approach. They don't just start speaking and hope their ideas will come together. They also don't practice randomly without a clear focus. Instead, they follow a clear strategy. And that strategy is what gets them to CLB 10, 11, and 12. This is the approach candidates use inside our CELPIP packages. They discover how strategic preparation can make a real difference in their results. In this video, you'll discover 10 essential tips that separate low scoring from high scoring candidates. By the end, you'll gain a clearer understanding of how to prepare effectively for CELPIP speaking, what it takes to score high, and how to get there. Let's start with one of the most important points. Know the scoring criteria. To score highly, you must understand how your speaking is evaluated. Only then can you better understand what to do to boost your score. CELPIP Speaking uses 4 scoring criteria: content and coherence, vocabulary, listenability, and task fulfillment. Each one carries equal weight in determining your final score. For a high content and coherence score, your ideas must be well organized and developed with supporting details. To boost your vocabulary score, you need to use a wide range of words and phrases accurately and naturally. Regarding listenability, your response must be easy to follow, with natural rhythm, varied sentence structures, and clear grammar. And for task fulfillment, you must fully address the question with an appropriate tone and length. Many candidates make the mistake of only practicing without truly understanding what the examiners are looking for. If you know the 4 criteria and consciously work on each one during every practice session, you'll improve much faster than candidates who simply practice without a clear focus. It's important to understand what each scoring criterion expects so you can target your preparation effectively and give yourself the best possible chance of scoring CLB 10 or higher. This brings us to tip number 2, use advanced vocabulary. If you want to score CLB 10 or higher, you need to show the examiners that you know a broad range of words and phrases. This means avoiding repetition and using precise, sophisticated vocabulary naturally throughout your response. For example, instead of repeatedly using the word good, you can use words like beneficial, advantageous, or worthwhile. Instead of saying I think, which many candidates overuse, try I believe, in my opinion, or from my perspective. Instead of big, use significant, substantial, or considerable. These small substitutions signal to the examiner that your vocabulary range is strong. Another common mistake is using vague words like nice, interesting, or a lot. High-scoring candidates replace these with more precise alternatives. For instance, instead of a lot of people, say the vast majority of people or countless individuals. Instead of interesting, try compelling, fascinating, or thought-provoking. This kind of vocabulary variety shows the CELPIP examiners that you have a wide command of English, which can boost your vocabulary score. The more precisely and naturally you use advanced words, the higher you will score. Tip number 3 is something that many candidates overlook. Use more complex grammar. One of the key factors the CELPIP examiners assess under listenability is your grammatical range, meaning the variety and sophistication of the sentence structures you use. If your response relies entirely on simple sentences, it signals a lower level of English proficiency, even if your vocabulary is strong. Complex grammar includes structures like conditional sentences, relative clauses, passive voice, gerund phrases, and subordinate clauses. For example, don't say, I moved to a new city. It was difficult. I didn't know anyone. Instead, you could say, moving to a new city was challenging, particularly because I didn't have an established social network to rely on. The second version demonstrates a much higher level of grammatical control. Conditionals are especially useful in CELPIP speaking because many tasks ask you to give advice, make predictions, or express hypothetical ideas. For instance, you can use structures like, if I were in your position, I would. Had I known about this earlier, I might have. Provided that you plan ahead, you'll likely find that such structures signal advanced grammatical ability and can noticeably boost your score. The key is to practice these structures before test day so that they come out naturally during your response. Start by identifying 2 or 3 complex grammar patterns you want to use and consciously include them every time you practice. Over time, they'll become part of your natural speaking style. Tip number 4 is often underestimated, but it's absolutely essential. Prepare during your preparation time. In the CELPIP speaking test, you get a short window before each task to organize your thoughts. Many candidates waste this time by panicking or simply waiting for the recording to start. High-scoring candidates use every second of it strategically. During your preparation time, quickly decide on 2 or 3 main ideas you want to cover. Think about the specific details or examples you'll use to support each one. You don't need to write full sentences. Just a few mental notes are enough to keep you on track during your response. Doing this means that when the recording starts, your response flows naturally and logically, which can improve your content and coherence score. Even a rough mental plan can make a significant difference. Candidates who plan ahead sound more organized, more confident, and more fluent. All things that examiners notice and reward. If you practice this habit before test day, it will become second nature when it really counts. The 5th tip is one that separates CLB 7 responses from CLB 10 responses. Provide specific details and examples. Many candidates give general answers that technically address the question, but don't demonstrate any depth or development. The CELPIP examiners are specifically looking for how well you develop your ideas. General statements without support don't score as highly. High-scoring candidates always back up their ideas with concrete details. If you're giving advice in task 1, don't just say you should find a new job. Instead, say something like, I'd recommend updating your resume and reaching out to contacts in your field, since networking often leads to opportunities that aren't posted online. That level of specificity shows the examiner that your ideas are developed and thoughtful. The same principle applies when you're sharing a personal experience in task 2 or making predictions in task 4. Don't just say what happened or what you think. Explain why, describe how it made you feel, or give a specific outcome. These added layers of detail are what can push a response from CLB 7 to CLB 9 and above. Whenever you make a point, ask yourself, can I add a specific detail, a reason, or a personal example? If yes, add it. This habit alone can noticeably improve your content and coherence score. Now, here is something important. Many CELPIP candidates think that knowing a few speaking tips is enough to get a strong result, but it's not enough. To do well in CELPIP speaking, you need to understand exactly what the tasks are about, what the examiners are looking for, and how to demonstrate those skills in your response. That's exactly what we teach in our CELPIP packages. Our students get step-by-step guidance on how to approach the speaking test effectively, so they feel confident and ready on test day. They learn how the speaking tasks are designed and what skills they need to give high-scoring responses. Our CELPIP packages include lessons for all tasks, sample answers, mock tests, templates, and much more. If you want expert guidance for your CELPIP preparation, click the link below to learn more. The next tip is to vary your sentence structures. One of the key things the examiners assess under listenability is your grammar and the variety of sentences you use. If every sentence follows the same simple pattern, your response sounds flat and repetitive, even if your vocabulary is strong. High-scoring candidates mix different sentence types naturally. They use conditional sentences, relative clauses, and complex structures alongside shorter, direct sentences. For example, don't say, "I like working from home." It is flexible, it saves time. Instead, you could say, "Working from home is something I genuinely enjoy because it offers flexibility and saves a significant amount of commuting time." The second version sounds far more natural and sophisticated. Another way to add variety is to use conditionals when giving opinions or advice. For example, if I were in that situation, I would probably consider looking for a position closer to home. This kind of sentence structure demonstrates grammatical range without sounding forced or unnatural. When you practice, pay attention to how you're building your sentences. If you notice that you're repeating the same structure, challenge yourself to rephrase using a more complex form. Over time, this becomes a natural habit that can help you improve your score. Strategy number 7 is very important. Match your tone to the task. CELPIP speaking includes tasks that require very different tones. Using the wrong tone can significantly hurt your task fulfillment score. For example, Task 1 asks you to give advice to a friend or family member, so your tone should be warm, friendly, and supportive. Task 7, on the other hand, involves expressing your opinion in a more formal context, so your tone should be measured and professional. Using casual, informal language in a task that calls for formality signals to the examiner that you don't fully understand the communicative purpose of the task. It's also important to maintain a consistent tone throughout your response. Some candidates start off with the right tone but shift partway through, which disrupts the overall impression. For instance, if you're giving advice in Task 1 and you start with a warm, encouraging opener, but then switch to a very formal, detached style, the response loses its coherence and sounds unnatural. Before you begin speaking, take a moment to identify who you're speaking to and what the relationship is. That quick step can help you calibrate your tone and stay appropriate from start to finish. Tip number 8 is to avoid filler words and long pauses. Many candidates rely heavily on expressions like like, and you know when they're thinking of what to say next. Using a small number of natural pauses is completely fine. However, overusing fillers makes your response harder to follow and lowers your listenability score. The good news is that this is one of the most fixable habits with the right preparation. When you practice, record yourself and listen back specifically for fillers. You'll quickly notice patterns in when and why you use them. Usually it's at the start of a new idea or when transitioning between points. Instead of filling silence with train yourself to use a short transitional phrase like "another point worth mentioning is," or simply pause briefly and continue. A confident, deliberate pause sounds far more professional than a series of fillers. By the way, if you want this channel to keep going, write yes in the comments, click like and subscribe. We only make videos that you actually want to watch. Now, let's continue with 2 more essential tips for CELPIP speaking. Tip number 9 is to use natural transitions between ideas. Transitions are the connecting phrases that link your sentences and points together. When you use them well, your response can sound more fluent, logical, and well organized. This is important because it can improve your score in the content and coherence and listenability criteria. Without transitions, your response sounds like a list of disconnected points rather than a developed, flowing answer. Compare these 2 versions. First, You should look for a new apartment. The rent in that neighborhood is high. Public transit is close. Second, I'd recommend looking for a new apartment. Even though the rent in that area is high, the fact that public transit is nearby could actually save you money in the long run. The second version uses transitions and connectors that make the ideas flow logically. Use phrases like even though, as a result, in addition to that, on the other hand, and what's more. They are straightforward to learn and can make a significant difference to how polished and fluent your speaking sounds. Make a habit of incorporating at least 2 or 3 transitions in every practice response. The more you use them in practice, the more naturally they'll come out on test day. Finally, tip number 10 is this: practice all 8 tasks regularly. Many candidates focus their preparation on the task types they find easiest or most familiar, and then struggle with the others on test day. The CELPIP speaking test covers 8 distinct task types, each with its own format, purpose, and language demands. For example, Task 1 asks you to give advice. Task 3 asks you to describe a scene in detail, and Task 8 asks you to express your opinion on a community issue. Each of these requires a somewhat different approach, different vocabulary, and a different organizational structure. If you've only practiced 2 or 3 of them, you're leaving a lot of points on the table. Make sure your preparation covers every task type. Record yourself answering practice questions, listen back critically, and compare your responses to the CELPIP speaking scoring criteria. Ask yourself, did I develop my ideas? Did I use a range of vocabulary? Was my response easy to follow? Did I fully address the question with the right tone? This kind of deliberate, focused practice is what truly separates candidates who improve from those who stay stuck at the same level. Consistent practice across all 8 tasks can help build the confidence and fluency to perform strongly when it counts most. These are 10 tips you must know to score highly on the CELPIP speaking test. If you want expert guidance for your CELPIP preparation, check out our CELPIP packages using the link below. Our packages include step-by-step guidance, mock tests, templates, and other useful resources to help you feel confident on test day. I hope you liked this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you're notified when the next video comes out. Also, share this video with your friends so they can improve their CELPIP score too. See you in the next video.